Good morning, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to show a start to finish project of a haul tree of my client, and it's going to show all of the prep, how I'll go about prepping all of my pieces for paint, and then we'll show the final and how I go about staging some of my pieces. So stick around and let's get started.
Everyone has their own ways of prepping, but I love to use crud cutter to clean my pieces and with a really good scrubby pad. Then I come back with the yellow painter's tape as you see, and I tape the edges, which seems to work best for me with glass and mirrors, and I don't have to work so hard at getting it off afterwards. Then the masking liquid is next. I painted a couple coats of that. You simply just peel this off when you're done, and it works really well for glass and mirrors. I taped and draped the bottom. Then I'm showing you the sticks primer that I use. I absolutely love it. The sprayer I'm using is just a fine finish max sprayer, just a very simple line sprayer, and I'm using the blue tip with it. And so far it's working good for me as I save for a nicer sprayer one day. Here you see my practice board to get my spray pattern right, make sure my air is right, and I'm not getting splatters. For some reason, I love the sticks primer. It sprays very well in my sprayer, but this day on this video, it was being a little bit hard to deal with. So, which comes with life and other things. Some days go smoothly and some days not so much. So you can see me just simply spraying here. Makes things go lots quicker. Had to make a couple adjustments as the spray pattern was a little bit splattery today for some reason. Here you saw my tip fall off. This was not a good day for spraying for me, for some reason. The tip evidently didn't get tightened down good when I cleaned it. Then little shortstop had to get her stool out. I'll come up with a better idea later in the video. Then I go back over to my work table and spray the little lid that goes on the seat. All of this had been cleaned really well off camera just for the purpose of speeding up the video so it doesn't get too awfully long. In the next few clips, you'll see me using a glazing and spot putty. If you've ever done a piece of furniture, you know they all come with lots of dents and dings over time, just from lots of moves and people using them. So for a paint finish, I just like to get things ultra smooth. So I take my hands and literally run it over the pieces of furniture as I'm working, and every little dent and ding and crack gets this spot putty treatment. I call it my chicken pox stage also. And it just offers a much smoother finish and makes things look a whole lot more like a factory finish. So I went over to the hall tree and I continued to do that same process on that. After letting the putty dry for a little while, I went out to lunch with a friend and made sure it was good and dry because it was kind of a chilly day that day and the putty was having trouble drying. So I just got everything done and filled in and walked away from it for a good while. I came back with some of my Surf Prep sanding pads, some of sponges that conform to the edges and curves really easily. And then as you can see, I'm just steadily sanding and making it smooth on all the little areas that I had to fill in. And after this, I also came back with my hand and filled or rubbed over all of those places again and made sure they were really good and smooth, making sure that we really get a nice finish. In this little part, I had to put just a tiny bit more filler, and sometimes you have to. Trying to make sure everything is good and smooth so that when you come back with your final coat of paint, you don't see a bunch of bumps and things underneath your paint, because that would be unsightly. Starting to make some progress on our final finish with the filling and the sanding. Continue to work on the lid and make sure it's good and smooth. Taking compressed air after I'm done sanding, cleaning everything off to make sure we don't have any dust on our final product before we begin to paint. I then take a microfiber cloth, just very damp, lightly damp, and wipe over the whole entire piece to wipe off any dust residue also, so we don't have any paint, or any dust rather, in our final finish. So I'm not quite sure why I did not think of this before, but I decided to use my work table and lay the haul tree on its back, and this worked beautifully as far as the paint leveling out and making it a height to where I could reach. Got the stool out of my way and much more room to work. So once again, I'm using the blue tip on my sprayer and using the Wise Owl 1 hour enamel in the color gray linen, and no thinning at all, and it sprays beautifully in my sprayer. So I'm just going to keep working here and I'll speed up the rest of the video. Thanks again for sticking with me during this video today. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below, and feel free to ask any questions. And if you would like to see future videos, you can feel free to give me ideas of what you would like to see as far as content in the future.